Welcome back to Kaijuly, and now we finally reached the movies I've wanted to do for a long time. The American legendary Monster vs. Godzilla films, starting with Godzilla 2014, and I originally wanted to do these movies in the lead up to Godzilla vs. Kong, and it got pushed back, and my theater closed, so I wasn't able to see it, so I decided I'd wait till the Blu-ray came out, and then I was going to do them in succession, and I came up with Kaijuly, so here we are. The culmination of what Kaijuly is meant to be, and, yeah. So we have Godzilla 2014, and so we need to talk about this movie. Now, in context, so rewatching this again, so, in my previous reviews, I got my stuff lined up for my haul video later. My previous Godzilla, the Japanese Godzilla movie reviews, I kept saying I don't get the complaint why they said, oh, there's too much human involvement. Or, and not enough Godzilla stuff. Rewatching this, I think I get the complaint, and I think this is the only one you can really complain about with that, have that complaint for. Because there's two big things wrong with this film. One of them is the fact that for most of the movie, whenever Godzilla's ready to do something, they cut away to the human characters. Like, there's really a scene where he gets ready to fight one of the Mutos, as they call them, and something closes and shuts away. Or when he first shows up and he gets like that roar, and you think he's ready to fight this thing, it cuts to a little boy on a couch. I was like, what, huh? Why? As you get that scene, he shows up and he does that, and you're like, oh shit, here we go. And then little boy sleeping on the couch. But that's only the second thing that they do wrong. What's the first thing they do wrong? Well, you see, this movie stars Bryan Cranston, who's a fantastic actor, and the performance that he gives in this film is fantastic for the 20 minutes that he's in this film. Because he plays Joe Brody. Yes, Brody. Because they want to fuse jaws with this, I guess. And when several years before this, he and his wife were working at this nuclear power plant in Japan when shit goes down and Joe's wife dies. And there's this fantastic scene between the two of them where there's very little dialogue, but you can tell from the emotion on the screen that these people love each other. Left behind is their son, Ford Brody, who we follow grown up, and he has to go back to Japan. He lives in San Francisco with his wife. Now, in hindsight, this is a bit of a uncomfortable casting choice because you have Aaron Taylor Johnson playing Ford Brody. His wife, Elle, is played by Elizabeth Olsen. 1 year later, they are husband and wife. 1 year later, they would be brother and sister in Age of Ultron. Awkward. Just think about that while they're making out on the couch, okay? Just saying. But he's called away to Japan to get his father, who was arrested again going into a nuclear zone. And when Ford gets there, he convinces his son to go into the nuclear zone, and they find a bunch of dogs running around, and they realize that it's not really a nuclear zone. And that just leads me to ask, well, how many times has he been in there and not seen any animals running around? I mean, I find it highly unlikely, but who knows? They were arrested by Monarch military, whatever, led by Ishihiro Serizawa, which is a combination of names, tribute to the legendary director of many Godzilla films, Ishihiro Honda. and Serizawa from the original Godzilla film. No eye patch though, but I think that Ken Watanabe does a pretty good job as the character. He basically worships Godzilla in the 2 films that he's in. So yeah, and he says the iconic line, "Let them fight," and then they don't do that. Gareth Edwards, you put that line in the film and you don't let them fight till the end of the film. I know budget is a thing, but come on. I'm just saying. So we get an attack. What I do like about this is that it's not just Godzilla. You could redo the whole thing with just Godzilla destroying buildings by himself, but you actually give him monsters to fight. These mutos, as you call them, there's a male and there's a female, and they're trying to connect to each other, so they can make babies. And there's it's one of those things where there's a bunch of babies, bunch of eggs, and they could hatch, and we're all screwed, right? So during this initial attack, which I think is one of the mutos attacking, it hatches and stuff. Yeah, it hatches and breaks free and all that. Just feeding off the nuclear power, I guess. Joe Brody is killed. Bryan Cranston is killed about 20-25 minutes into this film. We then have to follow Aaron Taylor Johnson, who, it's not the same. He has blank face for most of the film. Even during the scene where he stares Godzilla down, Godzilla's like laying there and he's looking at him and he looks disinterested. I'm sorry, Aaron Taylor Johnson was good in Age of Ultron, and he's been good in other things. But here it's just like, I'm collecting a paycheck, who cares? That's basically They even have a scene where he rescues a Kenny, gets a little Japanese boy in Hawaii, and then he ends up getting him back to his family, which, okay, I don't understand how that works, because whatever. It's short, and then he joins the military, because he was in the military, because they have a nuclear bomb, and then he needs to disarm it, so he joins it, but then he ends up not disarming it, because they can't disarm it. And then, almost an hour and a half into the film, a 2-hour film, by the way, we finally get the showdown, because it's climax time, between Godzilla and the Mutos, and this is awesome. Just the fights, when they finally let us see them fight, it is fantastic. Godzilla kills one of them with his tail, and then the other one, when the female Muto. So, because Ford blows up the baby, so the female Muto, she's pissed, and she's going after Ford. Godzilla gets a hold of her, cracks open her mouth, and uses his atomic breath into the Muto. Godzilla collapses, and the next morning just wakes up and says, okay, I'm going to go swimming now, and leaves. And Serizawa proclaims him to be the king of the monsters. Now, the last half hour of this film, with the monsters actually fighting, is good. It is an awesome fight. However, the cock blocking that this director does for most of the goddamn film, or just as they're about to fight, cuts away, is bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. You don't do that, alright? Thankfully, it does get better in future films, because they have different directors, and directors are better, I guess. But, yeah. So the biggest problems I have with this film are the cutaways, when the fight's about to happen, and killing off your best actor in the first half hour of the film. Why? Especially when the marketing heavily showed that Bryan Cranston was a big part of this film. But they only showed the scenes from the first part of the film. So, I will say the 2 big emotional scenes he does do very well. And then we just follow Aaron Taylor Johnson, who can give a good performance, but he just decided, nah. And the story with him reconnecting with his family, and then he tries to get a hold of his wife, and then she puts their son on a bus or something to get out of there, but she doesn't go? Why? I don't know, she's like a doctor or a nurse. Maybe she's needed to tend to victims. I don't know. I don't know. But we don't see the Brody family at all in the rest of these series, which is one of the problems I have with the MonsterVerse. And I'll get into it, I don't know, in the Godzilla vs. Kong video, or just a separate video on why the MonsterVerse, my problems with the MonsterVerse, basically. But overall, it's better than the 1998 film. It's better than some of the Millennium Godzilla films, like, say, Megaguirus. You say? But, yes, for an actual American adaptation of a Godzilla film, this movie does a decent job. The cutaways, I said before, are bullshit, but for the most part, it is a decent film, and I would recommend it. I didn't see this in theaters. I actually bought this from Family Video, if you can tell by the little thing. And then when I watched it, I was like, okay, that was pretty good. That a lot of cutaways, but yeah. I was only like a minor Godzilla fan at the time because I'd only seen the 98 film. So, but now as a big Godzilla fan, I see the problems with this. Yeah. So, that is the 2014 Godzilla film. And next, we're going to go back one more time to Japan for Shin Godzilla. I'm very interested in this because I don't know, but it looks interesting. Very interesting in purple. So, yeah. So what are your thoughts on Godzilla 2014? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.